What is worth every penny? Paying more in rent to live without roommates. I own my home, but my roommate is basically free money. He just quietly sits in his room and plays video games all the time. I run into him a couple times a week in the kitchen and remember he lives here. Other than that, basically the only evidence that he is here is his car in the driveway. My mum had this lodger in our house for years who lived in the relatively small room opposite me. Paid £200 a week to live there. He was allowed to use the kitchen and stuff but never did. He didn't want any social interaction. A very shy Finn. We managed to get him to have 2 meals with us over like 4 years. It's so strange. He lived off takeaways as he never used the kitchen. But there was rarely even any evidence of the takeaways. Sometimes we heard him answer the door for them, but they never stunk out the house, room. We'd just sometimes see food boxes in the trash. On occasion he was in the toilet when I wanted it, but that was the biggest inconvenience. He would stay up super late. You could see the light on in his room at like 3 a.m. on a weeknight. But never heard st from his room. He was like a ghost. My mum just got cash from him deposited on the table every week, and that was that. Personally, I think he was getting ripped off, but he really liked the place for some reason. Even paid half rent to keep the room available for him when he would go home for a few months. He's now gone back to Finland. But I'm sure my mum's wallet misses him. Upvoted for that last sentence. I was expecting, I'm sure mum's missing him. Anything that saves me time. Makes my life easier. And does I don't want to do. For example, my Roomba. I just got a robot vacuum recently. Currently looking into whether it's legal to marry it. I'm in love. Less than 3. A Roomba would commit suicide in my house. Roombas are straight up dumb. But at the same time, kinda entertaining. My roommate has one. And I swear that thing is just constantly FG up. If it can get tangled in something, including the cord to its battery station, it will. At least once a day. That Roomba will roll into the living room dragging God knows what with it. Dog leashes. Phone chargers. Underwear. Like. Where the FK did it get all that? It just tangles itself in random st till it stops working. It can be pretty funny. What sucks though, is if it dies not on its charger. It will at ungodly hours of the night decide to alert you to place it on the charger. Like the thing had to have been sitting there for hours. But for some reason at 3 a.m. it thinks it's a great time to alert you to charge it. And it's not an alarm or anything. No, it's like a woman's voice that gives a 30-second speech about how and why you should charge it. It scares the st out of you when it wakes you from a deep sleep. Like, who the FK is in my house? Thanks for listening to my Roomba talk. Good shoes. They'll last a long time and make you feel like $1 million. Also, a good quality. Marital aid. Worth it. Light blocking curtains. Got them when I had to work third shift for a few months. Will never go back. They truly live up to their name. No matter how bright it is outside. It is like 2 a.m. on a moonless night in my bedroom. Good coffee beans. Good tea. For all of you tea purists. Any recommendations for a tea noob? I drink a lot of Lady Grey. Darjeeling. And constant comment. Join us at RT! I'm currently obsessed with London fogs. Earl Grey from Murchie's. Divine and worth every penny. Sugar. Vanilla. Frothed milk. It's holy. A new set of car tires. Buy it nice or buy it twice. For winter climates, real snow tires. Not that all-season bullshit. Noise-canceling headphones. Spotify Premium. I use it daily. And shuffle it around all the time. And skip around a lot. I also don't get ads. It's $10.81 a month. But considering I've been listening to it for about 8 hours today, I'd say it's a pretty good deal. Edit. For all the people who are telling me that the student account exists. Thank you. But I'm already aware of this. I won't get into it. But due to my general inability to read directions, I can't get Spotify Student ATM. I have my son's naptime music on mine. $10 a month is worth it. It really is. Especially since that 8 just turned into 11. Because I'm a college kid who just realized all of her deadlines are in the next few days. That's less than $1 an hour. Just for today. It's even more worth it if you get the family group deal than split it with close friends and split or alternate who pays the bill. Also decent headphones or earbuds, especially if you listen to stuff with bass. I got a small rice cooker for $10 on sale. I've gotten a solid 15 years of use out of it so far. And it's still going strong. A good pair of running shoes. My legs and feet hurt so badly when I first started. Someone convinced me to buy a nice pair of running shoes and I was blown away. First run was heaven and no pain. A really comfortable desk chair. If it's something you're going to be sitting in for hours a day. Spending a little extra on a chair is well worth it. If it separates you from the ground, spend the extra money on it. i.e., shoes, car, bed, chairs, planes, etc. Definitely agree with planes. Throw some extra money on a Gulfstream instead of a POS single-engine Cessna. Or you could buy an 11,000 pounds Yak 40 from Ukraine and get a nice life insurance policy. I took a class on positive psychology as an elective a few years ago. I have used what I learned in that class practically every day since. Through some very intense and upsetting times. I use what I learned in that class to help maintain my mental health during isolation. And for someone who struggles with severe depression, I've been doing a pretty good job. Not only was that class worth every penny, I think it should be taught in high school for free. I do find it weird how mental health is barely ever even mentioned at school. Then suddenly you find yourself in a world with all sorts of pressures and stresses and generally no idea of how to look after your mental state beyond having a stiff drink and trying to talk with friends, family. Getting my eyes fixed. Getting physically fit. It costs a lot in healthy food and gym memberships, but when you reach peak strength endurance and can do simple tasks without dying of exhaustion, you will never regret a thing. Is it expensive though? Veggies are cheap as FK where I am. Chicken and fish are pretty reasonable. Rice is very economical. I always thought healthy food was expensive until I started buying it. I've saved so much money buying fruits and veggies instead of buying a cart full of junk food. And an apple will actually fill me up now. Before I could eat a whole box of cheese ITZ in one sitting and still be hungry for more. Good insoles. I'm not a fan of the snobbery that always accompanies the buy once, cry once mentality that likes to st on everything that didn't cost $1 million. But I have found that life is easier when you don't cheap out on insoles. I wear low-end work boots. And they wear just as well as a $200 pair when I put good insoles in. Gel. Comfort step. Find a brand you like and stock up. That first dinner out with friends and family when the quarantine is lifted. Nice food containers for meal prep. Leftovers. Etc. What weird little thing would you buy if you won the lottery? Quote, well, I'd throw all my containers out and go to Costco and buy like 6 sets of storage containers so I'd never have to deal with mismatched sets ever again. Quote, spaying your cat. A braided charging cable. To replace the non-braided type. Also, a really long charging cable for when you're on the sofa, etc. I have a 3-meter charging cable and man, it is really worth it. No more tears. True. A top-floor apartment. They usually cost more than a downstairs apartment. But not having to listen to footsteps and plumbing noises is worth the extra cost. I prayed to God and thanked him when my stomping neighbor. His first apartment ever. Moved out and was replaced by people know how to walk like normal human beings. Can't wait to get a top. I don't understand how people can be heavy walkers. Clomp clomp clomp. It's like they just release muscle control at the height of their step and let their leg come down by gravity. I'm sandwiched in between a top floor and the bottom floor. My upstairs neighbor walks on their heels. And my downstairs complains if my dog moves. Internet. When I was about 10 years old, my parents and I were in our backyard clearing out a ton of weeds that had gotten out of hand. I had trouble focusing because our next door neighbor had this really adorable puppy and all I wanted to do was play with him. We found out that they were actually going to take him to an animal shelter because their son was not taking care of him like he promised. I decided to ask my parents if maybe we could get him instead. I was an only child and never really have anyone to play with unless a friend would come over, and the thought of having a puppy to play with whenever I wanted to was great. My parents agreed and our neighbors offered to sell him to us for $20. Which is really cheap for a dog when you think about it. But a lot of money for a kid. I had that saved up and immediately agreed and promised I care for him and love him forever. So, he became my puppy and like a brother. After a few days of debating, I named him Snoopy. Snoopy became my closest friend. He made me laugh, played with me, and would just hang out and watch TV with me. He was always there for me. Especially through some tough times in my life where I was extremely self-destructive. He saved me from myself. He was there at my side through tough breakups where all I ever wanted to do was lay in bed. He was an amazing friend. He was there to see me graduate 8th grade, high school, and college. I hoped he would be there on the day I got married and maybe be around for when I had kids. But unfortunately, as much as we wish for things, sometimes they don't happen. This is the first picture I have of us together, and this is the last. He died 5 years ago after being by my side for almost 17 years. That little ball of fur in the first picture made such a huge impact on my life, bringing me years of happiness, friendship, and love. Definitely the best purchase I have ever made and worth every penny and more. I remember reading this story previously. Always a nice story to read. Same. Was about to say this sounded familiar. Then I saw the photos. Imagine being the boy whose dog got taken away. And the kid next door has him. Condoms. 2020 is no year for having kids. A good night's sleep. Sorry, that'll be $2.50. Laser printer. Especially one of the old ones. Those things were built like tanks. I've also heard stories from satisfied customers of mid-2000s laserjets who have owned them for 15 years and have never once had to change the toner. Those things were built like tanks. I invaded Poland using nothing but an HP Laserjet M255DW and a bucketful of Moxie. I have an older Laserjet 5200. Does up to tabloid-size paper. And double-sided with the duplexer. Toner lasts for something like 15,000 pages. Comfortable shoes for work. Whatever your work may be. A good vacuum cleaner. You get what you pay for with those. Especially if you have pets or kids. The most comfortable mattress you can afford. And good pillows. It will change your life. A pet from a rescue or pound. A decent chef's knife and a thick wood cutting board will make cooking so much easier. Good cheese. Good beer. Good bourbon. Life is too short. A Saturday night babysitter. Converting your old home movies, old family pictures to digital. Live performances. Music. Theater. Whatever you love. A plane ticket to see your mama. Therapy. Even when we're not working through meaty stuff. I love having someone to offer different perspectives and challenge my perceptions of situations. Plus, during an unexpected crisis like this, it's nice to have someone on deck to help me work through all the bad st. Hondas. My husband bought a 2005 Honda brand new off the lot. He drove it to 2018. It had 342k miles on it. It was still running. And we gave it to a friend when we replaced that car with a new CR-V. Friend drove it for about 6 months until the car finally gave up the ghost. Worth every single penny. My car is a 2002 Honda Civic and I'm pretty sure it was all of my siblings' first car before it got to me. It has 300,000 miles and it's still pumping. Heck. Our mechanic said he gets Hondas in the shop with 400k miles on them regularly. You may have that Honda for a while to come. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel for more videos.